April Fool's Day is that special day when we are embarrassed to find out how gullible we really are. What makes good trickery is when it works longer than you think it should, the longer that you can keep someone believing the incredible, and the more people that you fool, the better off the gaffe is once it's revealed. Now imagine if we had a month for fools, or even a year, or a decade, or century. What the heck? A few thousand years to work the tale. Would it be possible? Would the original people that cast the lie die and the truth be forgotten? Is it possible that people could ever be lied to for so long? How many of our myths came about because of practical jokes? Ideas that someone came up with in jest or as metaphor, which then grew a life of their own and became, to the bulk of us, nothing less than truth. Since the beginning of recorded time, humans have believed in some pretty crept up things, at least in retrospect. But at the time, when knowledge was less, even the most bizarre ideas were accepted as capital T truth. There's that old impossible myth. Sail too far off the horizon and you'll fall off the edge of the earth. Like, what was the ocean supposed to do? Wouldn't it just flow off too? For it to work, there'd have to be a ring of land to dike the water in, right? What were those cartographers thinking? Then there's the ancient rite of the oracle. Spill the bloody guts of a goat on a rock to learn if it's fortuitous to travel. Had they only had the Weather Channel, that poor goat would still be grazing. In the Yucatan, priests would throw a virgin into the holy sinkhole at Chichen Itza to keep the rain god happy, had they only understood their climate. Are we any different today? How many of you, like Nancy Reagan, actually care about your astrological sign or read your horoscope? Guess what? Astrology hasn't been taken seriously by the educated establishment for centuries. It is demonstrably bunk, and it always has been. Yet I know PhDs that let it shape their lives. How many of you believe in Bigfoot? I used to live in California's Bigfoot country, and I even dated a witness for a while, a very brief while. But it's quite obviously bunk myth to anyone who doesn't wish it to be true. Many Chinese still believe that eating cooked or raw dog, donkey, or ox penis will increase sexual stamina. They're said, by the way, to taste like poorly cooked squid. Basic biology tells us, though, that eating such delicacies will only help sexual dysfunction through a placebo effect. How many of you have seen UFOs? According to polls, 14% of the population has, although most would not say that they have seen a spaceship per se. Many Art Bell followers certainly would. Such myths are unsupportable. UFOs are always known flying objects to the humans that fly them, just not to you. At least one prominent fringe group holds that while psychiatry is dangerous, auditing and e-meters are not, and widespread application of Dianetics will result in a world without insanity, without criminals, and without war. In California, I actually met a groupie who belonged to the Jim Jones Kool-Aid cult back in the 1970s. Lucky for him, he survived. At least his body survived, but not his mind. Others line up on stage to be healed by power-talking faith healers. And when they're not healed, having wasted their money and their hope, they blame themselves rather than the money-sucking charlatans who laugh their way back to their million-dollar homes. Then there are the fringe elements that hold that the earth and all of its life could somehow, don't worry about the details, magically appear in a brief moment of time based on a literal, poof, there it is, reading of Genesis or the Quran. The skeptical among us live in constant doubt and fear of being duped into believing in something that is not true. We ask for evidence before we believe, and even after we believe, we ask for more, just in case we've messed up. This video is about faith, not just religious faith, but astrological faith, and hairy monsters in the wood faith, and donkey penis faith. Faith is belief without evidence, or at best misportrayed or misinterpreted evidence. And there are similarities between faith and all these things and what happens every April Fool's Day. For those of you who are steeped in faith, of any sort, imagine if you viewed the world so that every day was April Fool's Day. When someone tells you something, even your family member or best friend, you need to pass it through a filter of credibility. You might look for confirmation to know if it's true, or maybe you'll just remain ambivalent or agnostic about it and wait it out. Some of us might even play along for a while, but in the end, it's the ones who accept things without questioning that end up with egg and mud as a facial. Taking April Fool's Day head on is much like what it means to adopt a scientific worldview. Being skeptical is not just for those trained in its art anymore. It's for everyone who wants to have a firmer grasp of reality. Happy April Foolishness Day.